Hello and welcome back to the first proper episode of this, where we're going to be talking about smart running goals. So you probably listened to the first introduction of the podcast, where I was just outlining what different things I'm going to be speaking about on here and the different running-based topics that I will speak about. So obviously, you want to dive right in and talk about setting goals. So you've probably heard of setting goals when you come to your running, or maybe you've not. Maybe you're just sort of not really aiming towards anything and just sort of heading out the door with nothing planned. I'd say this is probably one of the biggest things that I have people come to me with when they say, "Listen, Blair, I want to get better at running," and more often than not, it doesn't have any specific, um, goal in mind. Some people are very focused. I want to get better at the 5K. I want to get better at the 10K. I want to beat my 5K goal in the next 8 weeks. That's a real goal that we want to obviously. We've got a clear objective. The first thing, obviously, with the goals, we want to try and be specific. Now, with that, you want to say, okay, specific. You want to be very specific about the distance you're going to do, about the time you're going to do. Um, you know, you want to be, give yourself, really dial in what it is you actually want. And I would also say in this, I would touch on the reasons that you want to do it. Maybe it could just be, you want to do it because you want to win a race, or you want to beat your best ever time, or maybe you've not been running for 20 years and you think, I want to get back to feeling healthier and happier and fitter for my family. I would say that in that's where you want to sort of really get down into the weeds of that part of your goal and sort of make sure that you're, being specific about that. You just don't want to be sort of heading out the door without sort of any clear idea. I would say, like, if you can dial into your specificity. If someone came to me and said, right, you're going to do a 10K run, and you're going to try and beat your best ever personal best, and your current fitness is, say, you're doing 50 minutes, and 50 minutes for a 10K, and you want to get down to your personal best, which beat your personal best, which is 45 minutes. So you know that you're going to have to run 4-minute 30 kilometers to do that. So if you work back from your goal, at some point you're going to have to run a full 10 kilometers at that pace. So you can be specific with this in your training plan. That means maybe you won't be running those 4:30 splits for your interval sessions to begin with, but you can really know to get to where you want to go. You have a clear path to get there. So that's good. And then it gives you other specific sessions, like if you're going to do a long aerobic run, there's a reasoning behind it, because you need to build up your base before you go out and smash that 10K. So I think that's really important. Another thing that you probably understood that I'm talking about SMART goals here, which I didn't headline from the start. So the first one obviously is the S in the SMART, which is specific, and the next is measurable. So this is obviously, all of it ties into one another. So measurable. So for example, that will be your time-based or your distance-based goal. Maybe you just want to run 10K for the first time. That's a measured goal, something that you can touch on, which also goes into like the next point of the A, which is the achievable, is what you're setting to be achievable. If somebody comes to me, and they sometimes do, where they say, okay, I want to go and run a sub 3-hour marathon. Maybe they can't even run that pace for 1 kilometer. Is that a realistic goal for now? Maybe long term. You could say, well, who knows? Maybe if you put 10, 15 years of work in, maybe you'll get there. But, I think it's really important to have that goal that you're setting with your coach or with yourself, if you're going to set it off, is to be achievable. So, if somebody's coming to me and they're saying, I'm going to try and do a 45-minute 10K, but you're currently running 48, to chop 3 minutes off in, say, 12 weeks, I think that's realistic, something you could do with specific training. But it would probably be unrealistic to say, right, in 12 weeks we're going to get to 40 minutes. Some people would maybe train for 2-3 years and struggle to get there. So it's important to be realistic. Yes, we can say we'll maybe get to that in 3 years' time or 2 years' time, or maybe do the 12 weeks and then see how we progress. But I think it's really important to make sure that it's definitely achievable. And then with the R, obviously, like the relevance. Is the goal relevant towards like your bigger goals? So maybe you would be like I said, this person's going to try and do the 10K to be healthier and fitter for their family. That fits in with their overall overarching goal. So they have I think it's probably good to go in and talk about a little bit about short and long-term goals. So you could have an overall arching goal, like this person who said that they want to be fitter and healthier for their family. That'd be like a long-term overall objective. And their short-term goal is, by achieving that, we're going to be make it relevant by running our fastest 45-minute 10K, which will show that our fitness is improved, and therefore we'll have more energy and therefore feel healthier and happier. So I think that's something that we should definitely strive towards. Another thing is obviously make sure that it's time bound. I mean, everything sort of ties into one another, so one point goes into the other. So when I said specific, and say it's really specific with the time, then this is part of it. So if you're going to say, right, I'm going to do my 20-minute 5K for the first time, yeah, I would like to do it, but when? How long am I going to give myself? And then is that also going to tie in to be, with your achievable goal? So if you're going to say, I'm a 22-minute 5K at the minute, and I'm going to do it in 8 weeks, to get down, cut 2 minutes off, is that really going to be achievable? But at least you've got the sort of time-bound element, but you maybe want to give a more realistic time-bound element to it. So just to make sure that you're giving yourself ample opportunity to do this. And yeah, I think it's really important to sort of set that out with yourself, especially if you're someone who's coaching yourself, or if you have a coach, just very clearly say that to the coach, what your goals are from the outset. Maybe you don't have a goal to start with. Maybe you have, you're going aimlessly. I think a good coach, I will always sit down when I have a one-to-one with my athletes, just to sort of discuss and talk with them and come up with a goal. Maybe they're thinking they're going to do a marathon in 2 years, and that's a long-term goal. But maybe I'll say, right, well, you want to do that in 2 years. Let's focus on trying to get up to averaging 40-kilometer weeks by the time we get to September. So it's July now. Let's try and increase and get that small goal. So by September, we're going to be running consistently 40k weeks, which will then lead us on to getting our better marathon time. We're already at 35 kilometer weeks, so we definitely know it's within the achievable bounds of your sort of what you can do. We know it's definitely measurable because it's just a number, and we're able to track that via our Training Peaks platform, and then also we know we're going to do it by September, so we've got a time goal for it. It's specific because we're obviously tying it into our long-term goal of the marathon, and we're just going to keep touching back on that and the relevance to what it will be like to build a bigger aerobic base long-term out off your specific marathon period. So yeah, I think that's pretty much most of the stuff covered about just setting goals. And like I say, I think you should all tie into one another and make sure that you can sort of relate to every aspect of your goal. And obviously, if you sit there thinking, why am I doing this, then probably your goal isn't right for you, so it's time to reevaluate it, and definitely speak to obviously your coach, or think even yourself. You can talk to your friends and family, or even shoot me a message and chat about what your goals are. And so if you've got any questions about different goals, then I'm always happy to discuss them. And I hope you enjoyed listening to a little bit on SMART goals, and see you next time.